and then talk about some changes in our go-to-market that should make it easier for you if you're not already using G Suite to get the benefit of these capabilities. So on the point of adoption, ECM systems, you saw the statistic, 40% of them, almost half, have significant adoption problems. We didn't want Drive as an intelligent content platform to suffer from the same fate. So we looked really closely at what are the issues that could cause adoption barriers. And the primary potential issue in our case is that what if Drive doesn't work well with the applications that you already use within your enterprise that are key to your team workflows? And that's largely Microsoft Office, Microsoft Outlook, and existing Microsoft tools. So we've launched features like real-time presence. In my Drive session yesterday, I actually talked about 3 features in this area. I just have time to highlight one here that make Drive interoperate seamlessly with Microsoft Office. So what you're seeing in this animated GIF is a scenario where 2 or 3 different people are trying to edit the same Word document at the same time. That file's stored in Drive, but they're using the real version of Word on their machine to edit that file. With traditional ECM systems, the way you would avoid those users stepping on one another's toes and ending up with document conflicts is some kind of check-in, check-out. But then if my coworkers checked that file out, they go out to lunch and I need to do some work, I can't. Coworkers opens up that same file, you'll be told when it's safe to edit. You'll be told if one of your coworkers makes changes and you need to refresh to get the latest change. And then what's really differentiating here, if one of your coworkers ignores that warning, and conflicting edits get submitted to the system, we do a really great side-by-side diff view that helps you understand what the conflicts are, resolve those conflicts, and get back on the same page. So we've really thought about interoperability and how to avoid running into those with Drive. So let's talk now about how do we actually make these systems not feel like they're restricting users, but helping users work together more efficiently? If you're in a really large team, say you're in a legal team and you need to keep track of the contracts that you sign, which have standard indemnities, which have non-standard indemnities, which are in Asia, which are in the US, which have been signed and which are in the red line stage, your team, to collaborate fluidly, likely needs to go in and apply structured labels to that content. So you can say, show me all the Asia contracts with non-standard indemnities that are still in the red line phase. Legacy ECM systems have this capability. It's very hard to use. We're rolling out a version of this in Drive that lives up to the G Suite user experience standard. So the feature here is called categories. You can apply multiple categories to a document. The keys and values inside of there are structured. So when you apply these categories to your content, you can then go into the search interface and you can say, you can do a multifaceted structured search, and you can say, show me all categories or show me all files that are meant to be signed before the end of the year within XYZ date range that are worth a certain dollar value. And that can cut across all your file and folder hierarchy. And the feedback we're getting from users is that these are so easy to use.
And wish me good luck. This might work. We're here in Herman Hilsch's account. And this My Drive looks probably like a lot of your My Drives look like. Here's some files here, Office files, different kind of files. Here's some folders. So he's trying to organize his files into folders. So there's a budgets folder and a Project Barracuda folder. When we go into the Project Barracuda folder, we can see one of the shortcomings of a traditional folder-based organization. Here's a budget right here in the project folder. Now, should this budget be in the budget folder or in the Barracuda folder? People who look for budgets would want to see it. People who look for Project Barracuda would also want to see it. That's where metadata categories come into play. When we open the Drive details pane, we see we have a new section here called categories. And there's already one category applied to it. That's the project category. So it's part of Project Barracuda, and Herman is actually lead for this. Now let's add the budget category. Oops. Actually, Herman is an organizer, so he can create new categories. So let's see so these are the categories that are currently available for his domain. So there's no budget category yet. And I have to refresh this to make sure it's true. I should have refreshed this before the demo. So now when you see here, there's no budget category yet, sorry, to demo this. So now we're creating a budget category. So we just can create a new category. We're going to call it budget. And we're going to give it some attributes. So a budget for our company always is related to regions. So we're going to call some region. And it could be one or several regions. So we're going to make this a selection and allow multiple selections. So it could be several. And we are operating in APAC, in EMEA, in LATAM, and in NA. And then each budget should also have a priority. So that we know, what priority we should give it when we review our budgets. So we call this priority. And each file only has exactly one priority. It can't have several, so we make this a single selection. We use P0, that for us means it's very high importance. P1, that's still reasonably important. And P2, these are the things that we would really like to do, but probably no one is ever going to do it. So having done all this, again, there's no saving, there are no checkboxes, there are no confusion. It's just very straightforward. If you can create a form, you can create a category. We can now publish this. And now when we go back to Herman's My Drive, we can hopefully, yes, we can select a new budget category. You can tell I'm surprised. We can create the new budget category, select what region it belongs to. So this one is for APAC and EMEA. And we can give it a priority. And you might have noticed something that you didn't have to notice. There was no saving, there was no going somewhere else, there was no losing context. You can all do it in context. And if you get disrupted and do something else, go somewhere to a different file, you don't lose anything. Everything gets saved immediately. And now when you search for all files that have P1, you get the file that we just applied the P1 priority to. Can you go back to the slides?
System doesn't feel restrictive. Another key area, if you're thinking about being a content platform, is lightweight workflows. And in this case, we're talking about document approvals. We've built document approvals up to the G Suite user experience standard. So these work exactly how you think they ought to work. You can request an approval on a document. It could be a Word, PowerPoint, Excel, doc sheet, slide, PDF, or any other file stored in Drive. You can identify who the reviewers and approvers need to be. The reviewers and approvers, they don't have to get out an auth token. They don't have to get back to their desktop computer. They don't need to log in to a dedicated approval system. They could be on the beach, on vacation, on their mobile device. They can pull up the document that's asking for their review. They can have a back and forth in a Google Docs comment style interface. You can ask questions, you can have a back and forth. That all gets logged, and then they can approve or reject the document, all facilitated via mobile notifications and the kind of collaborative experience you would expect from G Suite. So point number 2. Point number 3. Legacy ECM systems, for you to get the benefit out of them in terms of helping your organization have access to the knowledge that they need to get their jobs done, we don't want to foist that manual work onto you. Google Machine Learning and Artificial Intelligence should serve up to you what you need when you need it. So yesterday we announced the new priority page in Drive, which is the extension of our quick access feature, if you've seen that. We sat down and thought about what would Drive be like if we reimagined the entire experience in the mold of an assistive machine learning feature, and the result is priority. Priority has 2 sections, and these 2 sections are solving for a fundamental human tension. You simultaneously want to be informed of what's going on around you, and you want to be focused. If you're totally informed, you're probably like my friend who's a news junkie and gets interrupted every 2 minutes, you're not focused at all. If you're totally focused, you're probably not aware of what's going on around you, and we need to solve for that tension. So the suggested section of the priority page, here you see it on mobile, solves for the being informed part of this problem. What are the things going on around me that I need to know? We're pulling signals from Calendar, from Gmail, from Hangouts chat. We're even integrated with Slack. So if you're using Drive and G Suite together with Slack, we know what files are getting mentioned in what rooms and what times. We integrate all those signals. We pull them into a competitive machine learning framework. We evaluate all the various suggestions, and we identify what are the things going on across your organization that you need to know about. And then at the bottom of the card, we actually guide that into action. Oh, this is a document where your manager left a comment, and you probably want to reply to a comment. Here's another document that's waiting for your approval. So the suggested feed helps keep you informed. The bottom of the page, the bottom half of this page, is workspaces. This is a new concept. This helps keep you focused. It's very clear in our research data that the typical enterprise user has 2 to 5 work streams that they're working on at once, 2 to 5 projects. And across those 2 to 5 projects, they have about 25 files that they're working with. It varies a little bit, but it's actually a pretty reasonable set of content. In storage systems today, it's pretty hard, however, to focus on those specific projects because the files are probably spread out across a big corporate hierarchy. You know, some of them might be deep down in the finance hierarchy, others are in the HR team drive. And what an individual employee needs is to be able to pull those together in one place. Workspaces does this in an assistive, intelligent way. We can identify those files, we can cluster them, and we can serve them.
Log into Drive today. I come to one place, simple, clean, focused. We've kind of taken back that noise that sometimes exists when you're looking for 10 files that are located in 1,000. So this first card here, at the top it says 2018 Next Team Sync Agenda. I've been trying to get ready for this meeting, or this conference, and so I've been meeting with my team. And you can see them, they're listed here. And we actually have a meeting today, scheduled today at 2:30. This is actually picking up on that attachment for that event and bringing it to the surface for me. Because what I like to do before every one of those meetings is go in and look at the agenda, see what people have put on there, maybe edit a little bit, make sure it's a quick, efficient meeting, make better use of my time. The second card here, the designer on this project is Sean Whips, and he's left me a note, and it says, let's see, I made those changes to the deck. Let me know if you need anything else. Well, that's great to know. Because I'd handed that off to him a day or two ago, but I don't know if he actually finished it. And a lot of times we spend a decent amount of time going, maybe I'll go on chat and go, hey, Sean, did you do those changes I was looking for? And what's really hard to notice here, but I want to emphasize, is what you're not doing when you're using this, right? You're not digging through your files. You're not doing those more exhaustive, time-consuming searches. It's all right here in front of you. So let me give you another example. Here's another comment from my colleague Mike. Can you review the proposed approach? Great. Because I knew we were going to work on that topicality model, but I just didn't know when he wanted me to actually engage. And so as you go across here on suggested, this is a great way to stay informed of the things that are important to you. Sometimes those potentially missed handoffs or just the things that are at the top of your list. And I'll give 1 or 2 more examples before going on. You know, this last one is really great. An event like this, you get these emails, you know, hey, here's our brand guidelines. And a lot of times that email gets archived because you got other emails coming in. This one highlights, actually, all the other presenters here are looking at that deck. Maybe I should go take a look to make sure my slides match the ones we're talking about today. So really powerful. Hopefully in those examples you can see all the things you might have missed and how just that alone makes you a little bit more productive. And hopefully you can imagine how much time that saves you. So the second piece is, and Alex alluded to this, we actually had to spend a decent amount of time thinking about how do we actually accurately put this into the flow for a user. You know, one thing that gets kind of lost in this type of development is that we have a great tool in machine learning that's going to solve a lot of these problems that we've had with content repositories and how to pull the knowledge really to your fingertips. It's actually extremely difficult to do it in a way that's simple and easy and intuitive without getting in the way of your user. Because we're here to help in the way that you work. So workspaces down here, I'm just going to run through an example here. So here I have a workspace that's a marketing work stream. This is, again, a collection for me of files I care about, agnostic of location. So I can just access them when I need to. And when I open this up, you can see there's actually a good variety of stuff in here I care about personally. So I care about this newsletter we might be sending out. I also care about the team site that everybody's looking at. And there's, actually people's time off and the requests they're taking on the team, or making on the team, important to me. I have another one of those, and I want to walk you through a journey of, well, okay, now it's time to create a new workspace. So this conference is coming up. I go, hey, I'd love to create a workspace called Next. And I'm going to obviously put in the stuff I care about related to this event. Really interesting what you see here. This is machine learning working in the background, taking the word next, running clustering algorithms, and trying to understand what files in your corpus you might be referring to so that we can go ahead and automate away that overhead. Avoid you having to pick every file to put it in there. And we've actually deployed over 8 strategies that range over a variety of areas. This one's around text, but we also start to suggest workspaces based on those strategies. So what I can do here is I can take these, maybe select these 2 files. Maybe I don't want to add the other 2 right now. And this is going to come up in a workspace. And what I might want to do from here is there's probably a few more files that I particularly want to add. And this is what I get at with that balance of assistive approach versus trying to be purely suggestion and putting it in front of you. It gives you the right balance of control. It takes a lot of fine-tuning to get these right in the UI. So here I say I want to add maybe one more file. Yeah, I want to put the rehearsal schedule in here. So I'm going to insert that, and there it is. It's in the workspace. Now, anytime I come back to this page, I have my workspace about Next, and I can quickly find the files I care about the most. And like I said, we really want to automate away that overhead, so we've taken it one step further. We don't necessarily need to wait for you to give us a name for the workspace like I just did in Next. We actually have these 8 strategies that run over all the activity and corpus to suggest workspaces that might be meaningful to you. So I hit the suggested button. What pops up right here? These are 6 files that we have noticed are all attached to an upcoming meeting. Right? We've taken a signal from somebody, maybe you, maybe a colleague. You've attached them all to a meeting. You probably care about these together. There's 7 more strategies around topicality, whether or not you co-open things at the same time, how linked documents are together. But we've deployed a variety of ways to make it so you can come to this page, and eventually, all the stuff you need is always there, intelligently curated and simply offered to you in a clean interface. So very excited because in total what this does, in our opinion, is this moves people from finding to focused. And that time adds up really quickly across your organization when you recover it back. So that's all.
Up to you, helping you be focused. Now, finally, in terms of security, we have launched many features in Drive over the last year that make it, in our opinion, one of the most secure solutions in the market. A new one that we announced yesterday for the first time is pin code sharing. So you can now securely share to an external user outside your domain, even if they don't have a Google account, in a way that prevents the sharing invitation from being forwarded. So this relies on a one-time passcode, much like your online bank uses to verify your identity.